Okay, guys. Today I'm here with Ricardo Williams, and man, like even just looking at your name on Facebook, Ricardo Williams, that's not the Cardo that I know. You
Yeah,
know, you're Cardo to me. That's how you introduced yourself to me
that's
all
how I
those years
introduce
ago.
myself to a lot of people. Unless sometimes I go by Ricky, sometimes I go by Cardo, but most of the time I just,
Ricky.
yeah, Ricky's like
Ah,
professional world.
good stuff, man. Ricky just Ricky and I just messaged each other maybe a couple of hours ago on Facebook, and I said, "So, dude, when are we going to do that podcast?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm going to put my kids to sleep at around 8 o'clock." It's legit 8 o'clock right now, so
A man of my word.
it's awesome, man. Thanks so much for giving me some time.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate
Dude, hey, you started it, man. You started it. I'm just getting you back. I feel
it.
like
That's
I
it.
feel like a kid where you punched me in the shoulder and I've just punched you back. So
Hey,
so
that interview was fun. I enjoyed that.
dude, I tried to watch it the other day and I couldn't watch it because I was just so fat in it. Like my cheeks were so fat and like, I think at that time I was still on the medication, and the medication when I Googled it on Googled it, a whole lot of responses were of women saying that they were on that medication and they were just blowing up in weight. So, so
You
I'm
didn't
glad that I
look
got,
too big to me.
but I'm so glad that I got to put some weight on. But at the same time, like maybe 2 or 3 nights ago, I caught up with my relatives and they were like, "Oh, you've lost a little bit of weight. Like you were really chubby like a couple of months back." So I'm like,
Savage.
you know what relos are like, man. They're always.
Yeah, they don't hold back. They don't pull punches.
I think it's because they don't see you for a little bit, and then they see you, and they're like, it's the first thing that they say. Yeah, they're
Oh,
blunt.
definitely. I'm sure if I did that, like if I went back to the States now, they'd be like, oh my God, you've blown up.
No way, bro. You still look
Uh,
the same to me
no
as
way.
when I first met you, for
I think
sure.
when I first came to Australia, I was, oh, geez, here we go, doing it in kilos. I think I was 93 kilos, and I'm pretty sure I'm like at 115 right now.
You're a tall guy though. You're a tall
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah. When was the first time? I always like to ask this with my podcast guests. Like, when was the first time that we would have met? Would have been that day at Zen Garage. So it would have been 2011, 12, 13, or something like that. Like,
Yeah, 20 October 2013 is when I landed. And I
okay.
kid you not, 2 days later, I was at your shop.
Man, probably
Like,
2 days after that we shut down. I mean, it wasn't
yeah,
too long. It
yeah,
wasn't too long after
yeah,
that.
it wasn't too long. It was there short and sweet in my time period, but yeah, I'm glad I got to come and see it because yeah, that place was epic. Like it's legit one of the best memories I've got of coming to Australia. So
As
thank you
I
for
know,
that.
I know, no, dude, I know about that. And the thing is, when I hear stuff like that, it just makes me so happy too, like 100%. But it's funny that like running that for all those years, so many people, like when I shut Zen Garage down, so many people messaged me to say, "Holy fuck, I so wish I got there." And you came from the US and you
I
got
mean,
there.
me getting there was a bit fluky in a way, but like once I knew, like once I learned of like what Zen was, who you guys were, what you were about. Like I
Mm,
think I went to one of the car meets first, and then that was
okay.
like first day I landed, and
Yep.
then after that I found out, oh, this is where like the hangout is, which is what I thought of it as. It was just a place to hang out. I get there, freaking
Mm.
little arcade machine set up. You had the GTR, like it's like a G35 back there, the
Yeah.
Zoomy. it was awesome.
Ah, dude, I just find it funny that like some people that lived close by never dropped in. I think I think the mentality is everyone's so busy, right? Like Sydney, I don't, it'd be really fascinating to talk to you about that tonight, actually. Like the fresh eyes that you have with what the Sydney scene is like and what Sydney's like in general, like, and Sydney is so attached to American culture as well. Like everything that you guys kind of think is awesome, we think is awesome. Like
Yeah, yeah, I can
even
see that.
growing up as a kid, like Nikes and high tops and basketball and Like we were always influenced in hip hop and graffiti, skateboarding. My whole life has been influenced by American culture, just as much as Japanese culture. It's just that I chose to more focus on Japanese culture. Like
Yeah.
I've loved both, but I think the American influence was always way stronger for me growing up.
You know what's funny is like hearing that makes me think back of when I was in the States, and you always have like that draw of different cultures from around the world, but it's never like you don't think of it as, oh, that's American culture. Oh, that's like, European culture. It's just
Because you're
like,
not thinking yet when you're young,
well, that's
right?
true. But it's like it's real like a subset in the States because you got South and North and East and West and like all the different states in between. Like different areas of the States are just like different parts of the world. So you have little bits of culture in every single different state that you go to. So like you get a lot of Americans that don't actually travel outside of the States because there's so
It's
much
so
there.
big.
Yeah, and there's so much to go and
even
do.
you guys even have different accents.
Yeah.
Like we have an Aussie accent and it's pretty much Australia wide. It's pretty much the same. Whereas you guys have like Southern and Northern, and it's
Well, you guys
insane.
have that as well. Like funny story. When I first came to Australia, I swear to God, British people, Aussies, South Africans, Kiwis, all sounded exactly the same. I could not tell them apart.
Really?
Could not tell them.
Wow.
But now, somebody from Perth versus somebody from Newcastle versus somebody from Sydney versus somebody from Western Sydney, I can tell the difference straight away. Like
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah. It's
Dude,
definitely there.
Dude, let's get into the America kind of, because I hate to talk about politics, but I'm like, I have an American on my podcast right now, so I cannot help myself. I definitely want to dive into a little bit of that, at least a little bit of it. But I kind of do have a couple of bullet points here. Like I don't usually do this, but one thing that dude, because I've had a few wines, right? So I knew that if I didn't put some bullet points down, I think I'd probably be talking about all sorts of random shit. So I still want to bring it back to you because you focused on me for your podcast. I need to get you back. So so dude,
okay,
like
all right.
when I launched YouTube in a new tab every day, which I do, I got rid of Netflix. I don't have television, so everything that I watch coming from outside the world is through YouTube. I get the same fucking thumbnail, Cardo Lambo Kill, the fucking Lambo Kill video. I have watched it twice to try to make it not turn up on my front page, and it keeps getting brought up to the front page.
Oh man, that video is like a blessing and a curse, to be honest.
How is it a curse?
Like when I first that entire ordeal first happened, I wasn't even gonna upload it because I was just like, it's
we
just
said, woo, hello.
That was my wife.
Yeah, it's almost like Halloween. It's like she should come out with the scream mask on or something.
Yeah, so that it was like I was afraid to upload it at first, one just because of the attention it was gonna get. But then it was
you knew.
Well, of course. I mean,
you had a feeling.
Yeah. But it was like it was just two guys. Like I was just having fun on the way home actually, because I was when I used to store my car like 45 minutes away, because when I had moved away from that place in Mortdale, I lost my garage until I got this place, so I didn't have any place to store it.
Right.
So I had to drive 45 minutes, go grab the car, go get fuel, then go do what I was going to go do. And it just happened to be that on that little, route, he was there. And I was like, let's go.
See, the funny thing is a lot of people would think it was staged because of the culture, because of like, Uber drivers doing a rap or whatever. It's all, or Uber drivers having these hot babes walk in the car and then they do the rap, and it's all
or all the ride along videos with like little bikini chicks. And
But legit, dude, it just happened.
It did. It did 100%. But like, so to get into the part of it being a curse, like at first it was cool because people would come up to me like, "Oh, you're the dude with the Lambo kill video." And I'm like, like kind of cringe almost because it's like, oh, I don't know what to do in this situation. But then it would get to the point where anytime someone saw the car out, it would just be like ricer flyby, brah, brah, brah.
Right, I know. It's weird, isn't it?
No way. But yeah, and it's like YouTube wise, it was one of those videos. It took off. Like it's still the biggest video, on my channel.
Wow,
And
okay.
it drew a lot of traffic in, but then they kind of only wanted to see one thing, and it was like, well, that's a part of the life, but this is the rest of it. So
well, it went viral, bro, and don't you think that's the thing? Like sometimes when you release content, sometimes your favorite content doesn't get viewed at all. But then
100%.
when something goes viral, it's you can never complain.
You gotta ride the wave. That's all you can do. Like I think if like you have someone that makes viral content and they're used to that that wave of traffic coming in, they know what to do.
Yeah.
They know how to harness it and just like maneuver it.
Yeah.
But then if you're someone like me, you don't expect it to happen. And it's like, whoa, I'm just riding along.
But that's another thought that I have about you is like from the moment I met you to today, like I do question where the fuck is your ego, bro? Like seriously, like you are killing it. Like it's not like you started making like Lambo Kill stickers and t-shirts and stuff, Like that's the thing. Like you're such a humble guy. You're such a good vibe guy. And a lot of the guys that I know that have done shit, we all have an ego, like myself included. I've got a fucking huge ego. So where the fuck is your ego, man? Like seriously, you're just
I don't even know how to answer that. Like it's I'd never have had an ego. Like I guess another kind of funny little twist on that. At your end of month meet, I was walking around with a friend of mine, Andrew, not Hawkins, but another Andrew. And someone came up to me and just started talking about my car. And I kind of gave him the deer in the headlight look because I was just like, how the fuck do you know about my GT-R? And like it hit me, but then Andrew was like, oh, you just forget you're famous. I was like, bro, I'm not fucking famous. Like it's just one of those things. Like I don't view myself that way. Like you put your pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. That's how I look at everyone, regardless of what financial stature they are, what they have, what they don't have. Like a bum on the street and a billionaire in a tower is the same person to me. And I try and live that life regardless. Like I'm not rich, but even if I was, I would hope that I'm the same person, I am.
Yeah, today. That's mad. Like don't you feel sometimes like when you get into a position of being known by absolute strangers, like complete strangers, like I'm a little bit the same. Like if someone does come up to me randomly and ask me a question that I feel like is it's very planned question because they kind of knew exactly what they were going to ask. And I feel like, fuck, sorry, what was your name? Like, sorry, bro, I have no idea who you are, But then sometimes the way I deal with it scares them away a little bit because I'm awkward and uncomfortable with it. But
well, I mean, I think we all are. Like, there's no, if random, like, okay, another one. I was out at Wings and Things the other night, and I had another person come up to me talking about the Lambo Kill video. And like, there was that split second. I was like, what? And then I go, oh, and it's just, I don't know. I guess if you're the type of person that when someone comes up to you out of the blue and just, wants to strike up a conversation, you're either going to have that kind of fight or flight, I guess it's called.
Yeah.
Reaction. Yeah. And if that reaction is like, ooh, get away, then that's going to, that's your immediate reaction. That's going to show. And I guess I just tend to lean on the other side of that where it's like, hey man, what's your name? How are you?
Because
I'll talk
yeah,
to you
you just
forever, you
got
know?
that. You've got that energy. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, do you sometimes take a step outside of yourself and question why you're sharing? Like I'm of the belief that sharing is caring. I've always, if I as like when I was really serious about the design community, I would always do these design talks around different design schools and show them exactly how I create things. And then at the end of the 1 hour, I would say, everything that I've shown you is saved to the desktop of this, presenter computer. So you guys can download my files and pick it apart and figure out how I did things. So I always was of the mindset that if I give away my secrets, I'm only going to be stronger, and I'm always going to force myself to learn new things,
Yeah.
so that I can, so part of it is like this whole sharing is caring thing. And you're, whether you realize it or not, you're a true content creator. Like a lot of artists have that um, built into them, where you've got to create, otherwise you're not happy.
Yeah,
So obviously
definitely can feel
creating,
that.
yeah, so obviously creating, like, you're a different type of artist, like maybe you're not the traditional type of artist, but the way I see it is that you take the time, you put the energy in, and all the edits that you do, it gets better and better with your videos. So you're learning on the job.
Oh, definitely.
And yeah, and it's like you put this energy in and
It's
you're
like,
putting it out there. Yeah, my cat's just you're you're putting it out there in the world. So how has that been for you? Like, because people are scared to do that. Like, a lot of people are super scared to do
I
that.
was that
So
person. I was
yeah,
that
yeah,
person.
yeah, right.
Like when I was in the military before I came to Australia, and I was anti social media. Like, just did not want to, like, I would post here and there, but I would never
Mm,
put anything where I was in uniform or on the base or anything like that, just because I don't know, a bit paranoid, I guess.
right.
Um, so I don't know. Once I kind of left that life, came here, got the GT-R, and funny enough, my wife actually gave me a GoPro, and I was just like, what do I do with this? I turned it on, started recording, and I made these really crappy videos at first, but then I found I really enjoyed it. So
Right.
I just kept doing it, and I don't know, it was one of those things where it just became a release. It was like, you know, whatever had happened during the day, or whatever happened whenever, if I'm sitting there editing videos, I could be in my own head doing my own thing. And so what if people don't like it? So what if people don't watch it? So what if
So it was for
someone,
you
it
primarily in the
still is,
beginning. It was,
it still
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm,
yeah.
my videos aren't viewed the most by far by a lot of people, but it doesn't really bother me too much, because like I've got people that do follow along the journey of what I'm doing with the car, and
Mm-hmm,
appreciate those people so much. But
mm-hmm.
without sounding, I guess, cocky, like, it's not for them, it's for me. Like, I'm doing this because when I'm old and gray, and my kids are big enough to have their own kids, I can go back and look at this, and look at it with them, and just be like, this is what I did when I was your age. Like, this was my passion, and I can share that with them. And then they can actually see that real time.
It's like documenting your life, isn't it?
It is.
I've always been addicted to that. Like, I think I've never talked about this so much, but everything that I do has been documenting every step of the way, and it's for my benefit. You hit it on the nail on the head, right? It's like when I need to remember things that I want to remember, I'll just go to my blog and go to the search bar and Google it up. And I probably use the search bar on my blog more than anybody else has. So
It is.
no,
It's like, it's a really good way to, like, because self-reflecting is good, but then when you go back and, like, I don't know, I watched the first vlog that I've ever done in my GTR, and just I could see how, like, nervous and tense I was, because I was driving and, like, trying to talk to the camera, and it was just like, I go back and I look at that all the time, and I just go, you know what? even though that was then, I'm still learning, from that
100%.
video. Like, oh, you know what? I should be doing stuff like this, or I need to get back to doing it like this, just because for me, I feel like I can add. It's like I start getting like ahead of myself in my thoughts, but it's like you want to be somebody that's a part of a community that doesn't detract from that community. And this is kind of that way for me to be a part of the community, add value, and not be someone that's detracting from it. And it's like I said, it's my own release in its own way, because I can sit here and do this, and it's like, this is the journey.
Dude, I'm with you. It's so a lot of people have asked me about the podcast and stuff, and for me, every time I get asked that, I just say it's purely therapeutic for me. It is it's a release, exactly like what you just said. It's like I feel like better out than in, and sometimes what's nice about it really is that you don't know who it might affect, in what way. And some of the feedback is, like, I've said this many times, but the feedback is gold. Like, for me, like, I still think money is a dirty thing, man. But it's like, when I get feedback, it's like, fucking give me the feedback.
Yeah,
like
100%.
The feedback.
It's good and bad, because you get people that are like genuinely interested and genuinely want to know, like what you're doing and how you're doing things. But then you kind of have to remember that it is the internet. So you're going to get the trolls, and you're going to get the people that just
do you get that shit? You don't get that shit, though. Really?
Yes.
You get some of that?
If you go to the Lambo Kill video, just scroll through the comments, you'll see the
YouTube's nasty like that.
Yeah, it's like, I wish you crashed. I hope you freaking drive off a cliff. Like, oh,
really?
Bro,
fuck! I didn't check that. I didn't check that. But I had a stat, like I wrote down on these notes here. You've got 56.6 thousand subscribers, man. Like,
nice.
That's pretty huge. Hey,
that's awesome. That is very cool. Last I checked, it was like 51-1. So that's awesome.
It's so epic, man. It's like, you've done so well in such a quick amount of time. And obviously YouTube loves you to a degree. If like your Lambo Kill video keeps being brought up to my front page, it's like that's happening for a lot of people out there too. So it's cool, man.
I like I said, it's the Lambo Kill video itself has been a blessing and a curse, because one, blessing wise, it's allowed me to grow the YouTube and share and reach so many more people. Yeah. And they do see the other content, and like I said, they join the journey along with me, building the car. Yep. And it's been awesome, but it does come with its negatives. So
I had no idea, because you're such a nice guy. You're just super positive. So it part of it surprises me, but the other half is like, that's the internet. And I think it's just a matter of, when you get to that point of having so much reach, then those guys are going to be there. So that's sad to hear, man. Like, talking to Hawkins, like,
he would cop it so much.
Yeah, he was telling me in the podcast, he was telling me some stuff that I just couldn't believe, like people wishing him death, and saying stuff about his divorce and stuff. It's 100% not on, man. It is not on. Like, I as strong as I am right now, I definitely don't wish that kind of shit to turn up in my feed. Like, I don't know how I'll deal with it, because it's just, there's a human here. Hello, very, like, I think Hawkins even said that as well.
Though. Like, like most of the trolls, like I said, you get a bunch of people that like genuinely care and genuinely like.
Correct. Yeah. Sure.
But the trolls and people that just type crap on the internet, they just see a talking head. They don't care, And that's how I guess that's how I'm able to rationalize it, is like, the people that are writing all the nasty things, like, they're not watching the rest of my videos. They don't actually know who I am. It's just a talking head on a screen, and they're typing a reaction to it.
Yeah.
literally after they type that, they're not going to remember it, you know? So it's, why should I care? That's how
They have issues. They have issues. I think that's what I've come down to is like, well, if I'm being misunderstood here, then I'm not being given a very fair chance of having them in front of me so that we can converse and try to get to the bottom of it.
Oh, definitely.
There's no opportunity. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
No, I
interesting.
agree. I agree. I mean, it's funny, like you you say I'm super positive and bubbly, but it's like right now I'm probably I'd say I'm in probably the lowest period I've been in since I've been in Australia. Like
In what regards?
like well, for one, at the moment I'm jobless. So
Oh
it's been
shit! Is
yeah.
that COVID related?
I'd say yeah, a little bit of COVID related, but yeah, it was just a crap situation to be honest.
What kind of job were you doing before?
So I was with a company that was in the accident management scene. And
I
in
think
that
we've
company I did
yeah,
a
I remember,
few
yeah.
roles.
Yeah, I think I
Um,
remember talking to you about this actually. I don't remember exactly when, but yeah, I think you did mention to me that things started to quieten down at some point.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, that ended up being my undoing. So yeah, at the moment we're on the hunt trying to, find another replacement job so I can keep shoveling money into that thing. But yeah, it's been rough. Like I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's like it has been good as well. Like my wife says she sees a complete difference in, how I am day to day. She can see how much, happier I am.
Right.
So, that's my silver lining. And I get to spend so much more time with the kids, which I absolutely love. So
Yeah, that's
it's been all
insane.
right. But like I said, it is a bit of a low.
Dude, like, do you think that doing a job that was more related to your passion is something that you're interested in? Or,
Oh,
I
of
mean,
course. I mean, that's the dream for anyone, really.
yeah, but it's a little bit different probably. If you're a family man, it's like you would do anything to just make sure that you look after the family first, right? So I understand that too. But I mean, what do you think Australia's like in terms of like you've met a lot of the players in Australia since you've been here, and like a few of the guys who are the movers and the shakers in the industry, even like JCG and like those guys have done well and they only get bigger and better. So do you see yourself maybe working for someone within the scene?
That's That's actually hilarious that you brought that up because I like just was speaking to the director of GCG
Mad,
because they were
mad.
advertising a job. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'll go for it. Um, so yeah, that's actually pretty funny. But no, I would look if I could make a living doing something inside of like the car scene or
Yeah,
with the passion that I have, of course I would do that. But
yeah,
like you said, I have to kind of look after family first. So if it's something that isn't going to be able to be sufficient enough for me to, maintain them and keep food in their mouth, then there's
yeah.
no point in me doing it. Like YouTube is great, and if I could go all in and just create content every day, then of course I would. But YouTube don't exactly pay that great.
Well, it probably used to, but it doesn't anymore. But the thing is, the skill set that you're developing with your channel is such a positive asset to whoever you choose to work with that doesn't have a channel, that doesn't have an in-house content creator. So just having that makes you a more interesting person to hire for a job.
Yeah.
Like if anyone can create content because they love it, um, it's only going to do a company great things.
It's like I'd actually say YouTube's helped me
Hmm.
in the professional sense because it's given me confidence. Like
Yeah,
talking to a camera, you would know, talking to a camera and going back and editing it. It's not an easy thing to do. Like even
yeah.
now,
You're a one man band as well. Like you're doing. It's not
exactly
like
right.
you've got like five people, one person doing the sound, one person doing the filming. Like there's like you're a one man band. So
Yeah, And yeah, it's funny because you say that, and it reminded me when I came to your house to do the interview, and it was you were just like, "It's just you." And I was like, "Yeah, bro. What do you expect?" I'll rock up. I got my camera, like a microphone. I'm like, ready.
But dude, the way you're building your car up too, like it reminds me of how everyone used to build up their cars. Like the scene that I came from was so much more grassroots than the scene today, in that like every sort of dollar you had spare from the hard work that you did went into the car. But at times you needed to work again and work hard to get that exhaust or that radiator or intercooler. And I cut corners in my build because there were times during those parts of the build where I couldn't afford the JDM parts and I had to go local. And
Mm-hmm.
it really hurt me because I didn't want to, but I just needed the build to progress at a certain pace. But it wasn't done in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
this long, yeah, and and that's the thing. Like, it's so refreshing for me, and I hope people give you credit for it because there's so many, car shows all over the world where, yeah, they're awesome cars, but
They're just rushed.
dude, the attention to detail isn't there. Like, I can spot it a mile away. I just
Yeah,
have one step up, little bit of a look at it, and I'm like, that was probably done last week.
yeah.
Or
That's honestly that I think that's been probably one of the more challenging parts of this build is, build one. Well, for one, building a GTR in itself is just not cheap, and it was a lot cheaper when I started. And
yeah,
it's
it's gone
just gone,
crazy, hasn't it? It's
it's
gone
just gone
nuts.
ridiculous. So
Yeah.
it's been really hard to like stick to my guns and not, cut corners to
Yep.
meet a deadline or to get the car done at some certain stage.
Hmm.
So it's just like, make sure you stay the course and stick to your plan. So that's really what I've been trying to do. It's been tough.
But I also think it's like whether it's tough or not, I think it probably shows your true passion for the badge and the brand. Like I think for a lot of people, cars are a transitional thing, or certain makes and models are a transitional thing. It's like kind of like almost like the Pokemon kind of catch them all. It's almost like I'm really into car culture right now. I wanna try, you know, this car and that car. And,
Mm.
I did a whole lot of that buying and selling, but the GTR kind of always stayed because it was a different beast altogether. And the levels of passion for my GTR versus all the other cars I've had, it's non-comparable, you know?
Yeah, I don't
So,
know if I could do the buying and selling though. Like
mm,
each car would serve a different purpose for me. So
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to just, chop and change and switch to another one because it would be like, well, weekend car is the GTR.
Mm,
Like that's the one that gives you that raw punch of power. But
mm.
then say I had an exotic or something like that, that's a car you want to just go cruise around and be seen in, like that's not going to give it any hits. You just want to go around and be flashy or something. Then I might have like an SUV or something that I put some rims and lowered it.
Yeah.
That's the family
Mm.
wagon. So I don't know if I could chop and change and sell and buy. Like I would have a million cars because they'd all serve a different purpose. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think that's how you blow a lot of money too, man. Like in retrospect, like I think just having so many, I've always been that guy that's looked for the low kilometer uh,
Yeah.
version, and sure, I'll pay, 3 to 5K more for it because it's got low Ks. But I'm not about to pour money into this thing unless I know it's straight and the
But
engine's
that's
fresh.
the enthusiast part of you is like
It
you
it's an
want to make
instinct.
sure that car is what you want before you pull the trigger on
Yeah, but dude, like, yeah, I've definitely spent every dollar I've ever earned in my life. I've definitely blown it on cars, and I don't regret it because, like, just even then it was a longer process. It wasn't so much like a 3 week thing. It was like I was running JDMST, so I would, you know, start a new build thread and tag people along, which I think you do really well, which is like the smallest of smallest mods is still blog worthy. It is
Well,
still worth,
100%.
yeah, right?
100%.
The
100%.
tiniest of things, man.
I've got like the tiny little RB26 emblem. I shaved it off and got an RB32 emblem, and I made a whole video for it because it's like
Dude, I was wondering.
that's the attention to detail that, like, you know, that's the stuff that makes the car yours.
Dude, I was wondering that because I saw a video where you got your covers painted, but like RB32, was it?
Yeah.
Holy fuck, it looks legit.
Yeah, look, it came out so perfect. Like, full credit to Third Strike because
It's the little things though. It is the little, it is a, you know, like that's tucked away in your engine bay underneath the bonnet. You know, not everyone's gonna see that, but it's the.
What do you mean? Every end of month meet someone's gonna see it.
You're gonna pop the bonnet. Oh, jeez, I hate popping the bonnet of my car.
Oh, I know. It's never up. Every time that I would ever have gone to a car show and your car's there, it's just sitting off in the corner somewhere because you don't want it to be like the spotlight car.
That's it. I even said that to Hawkins. He was like, "I'll give you a spot next to the tent next to all the fancy cars." I'm like, "No, I'd prefer to park it out the back."
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, I think I would do the same as far as not parking it up near the tent. I would definitely go out toward the back because, like, that's what you want to be. You're there for.
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
That's the war zone, man. Like I used to know a guy in a graphic design company who was the boss, but he put his desk in the middle of the floor, like in the middle of all the junior designers and and I'm like, why the fuck didn't you take the office which has the, you know, the views of Sydney Harbor and all the boats and ferries and stuff? He said, nah, man, you got to be in the war zone. You got to be in the war zone. Yeah, I respected that a lot.
I can respect,
you know? Yeah, for sure.
That's
so,
like,
dude,
you know, like that picture, you ever seen that picture where it's like, this is a leader and this is a dictator, but the leader dude is like pulling the rope and his team is like, you know, pulling the object with him. And the dictator's sitting on the chair like, fucking mush. that's that stuff, that those qualities, you know, that's that type of personality that a leader would be, is somebody that's right in the middle with everyone, level playing field. Like, everybody has respect for who he is and what he does, but he's like, you know, in the shit with you, trying to come up with ideas and, you know, get the job done. So I like I said, I can respect that.
Totally, man. I think it's a choice, you know, and like just going back to how your build has been like a slower build. I think considering you're out of a job right now and you've got a couple of kids, like it's almost like, thank God the build wasn't one of those builds where you just got this open checkbook situation going. You know, like I hear a lot of that. Like I hear a lot of like, for a while there, when I did hear people with open checkbooks, it was a boasting thing, especially with the European car scene. It's like open checkbook build. And they'd be like, as if it was a heroic thing to say. But I've never felt right about it. I've always thought it was kind of embarrassing to boast about how much money you've got and how you're not touching a single thing on this car. Like, you haven't got a single blister on your hands or no grease underneath your fingernails. Like, this was like completely just open checkbook, turnkey. It's fucking done.
Yeah. Look, I mean, full credit to anyone that does that kind of build. Like, I mean,
it's a way. It
is a way to do it. I don't think that even if I was able to do that, I would do it, because like the build is the fun part. Like, driving the car is awesome. You know, doing everything afterwards, when it's done, is awesome. But the build is like, that's the connection. That's what makes it, you know, that's your car then, because you're the one that's building it. You know, we both have the same car, yet they're completely different.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's got so much, yours is so much of you in it. Mine has so much of me in it. But Man, that's another topic altogether. The whole R32 GT-R kind of like, I instantly got a flash in my head just then of all the R32s I've come across randomly on the street that have flashed me the headlights or stuck a feet. I mean, it is like especially from all those years that I've owned that car too. Like it happened more in the past than it does now.
Mm. Is
Yeah.
it driving? I saw
No,
you
no,
put
it's
up a
not. It's
picture.
not. Yeah, yeah,
Ah,
no, no, no. That's just rehashing old shit.
ah, my heart.
Dude, I need to tow it, I think, man. I think like it'd be dangerous. I actually think it'd be dangerous for me to start up the engine. I think because it's
Oh yeah, if it's sat for that long, yeah,
yeah,
probably
yeah,
take
yeah.
prime the oil.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Even if I do launch it, start it, and something goes wrong, I, I've I'm kind of putting some savings away. I haven't been crazy into any kind of new hobbies for a few years, so but I'm just starting to like get my financials sorted. So I've got a few thousand saved there, and it's almost like shit. Do I want to blow it all on getting this car back on the
Yeah, I
road? You
no
know.
judgment from me, because trust me, you see this thing is just sitting here at the
There
moment.
you go. There you go.
No
But I,
judgment from me.
but I mean, I think like so the situation that you're in and the slower build probably it's a good thing, right? Because it's like like you said before, like there is no deadline. There is no like if you a lot of people get upset with me for not driving my car, and I'm like, man, but the thing is, I haven't sold it yet.
Yeah.
Like if I had sold it, oh my god,
Mm.
like, oh my God, I don't know how I would deal.
Dude, I
Like,
I just know the instant regret I would have. Like
right.
I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
So
I have thought about it. I will say that.
no, 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 me too. I've had some ridiculous offers, and even from offers from the UK. It's crazy. But it's like I know as well from my life so far that every dollar I've ever earned ends up disappearing somewhere. So I know that if I sold it for like whatever, however much, I know that I could lose that money,
Yeah.
and then I wouldn't have the GTR. Like I think what people don't understand is like what people don't really know is like my bed is directly above my garage. So I have this, when people have this childhood story of being scared to sleep at night because there's a monster under the bed.
I
I,
knew that's where this was going.
I've legit got a monster under my bed, and it actually helps me sleep at night.
100%. 100%.
And
It
it's just
actually,
like,
you hear it, that's when you wake up.
but dude, it would be a nightmare to. Like, I would literally, if I had a dream about like, you know, running down to the garage and the car's not there anymore, like it would be a nightmare to me. Like
Definitely.
I would be there's a lot of me in that car, and the way I justify it is I don't need to sell it. Like there's no hardcore need for me to. I could shift things around, and
Yeah.
I could
I
I
mean,
could
there's
eat.
nothing owing on it, like it's just
No,
when it's like this, it's a hunk of metal. It's
I,
hard to
I
say
could
that,
I
but it is.
could I could eat McDonald's and mee goreng for months
Exactly.
rather than
Exactly.
rather than sell the car and then what, you know?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So,
I
dude,
agree.
let's talk about another thing that I wanted to bring up was this GTR cruise to Bathurst. Like, now we're
No.
talking. This is ridiculous, right? Like, in my opinion, it is fucking crazy that you weren't even born here. You've come in from America, and then you organize an event that is so epic that it gets picked up and featured by the biggest American, well, speed hunters, well, the biggest international car blog on the planet. So how does that even happen?
I
Like,
don't
don't you
know.
pinch it? Don't you pinch yourself every now and then? Because this is some
Honestly,
like,
when it happened, I was just like, wait, what? Like legit on the day, there was, I think, 5 cars sitting at the meeting point. And I was like, oh, bro, this is enough. This is awesome. I was over the moon.
You're already happy.
Yeah. And then like we stopped, I got out, and they just started flooding in. Like the meeting point, I was like, oh, we'll probably get 10, 15 cars and meet everybody else there because nobody's going to want to get up that early, drive that far. And boy, yeah, by about 8:30, there was like 40 something cars at this petrol station. I'm like, whoa, this is epic.
Holy shit.
So yeah, it was very, very cool. Like it wasn't I don't know. I never set out to, I guess, make it as a, you know, the go-to thing to do or anything like that. Like I started doing that literally with just 3 or 4 cars. We go up there, take some pictures, shoot the shit, and go home.
Yep.
And every time we take pictures and post it like in the groups and stuff, everybody's like, "Oh, mad invite, mad invite." So I was like, "All right, you know what?
Yeah.
Fine, I'll do a public invite and say, you know, how many people want to come." And then we started getting 15, 20, 25 cars. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So then this year, you know, I invited Andrew along, and I was like, just come. Like if it's not big, it's not big, but this is what we do every year. It's like it's just a GTR cruise. That's what this is. Just get everybody up there, go to the mountain. Like this is the place that gave our cars their nickname.
Fucking hell. It really is, right? Like, yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So yeah, and it just, like I said, it ended up being freaking huge. And yeah, so Frederico Esterman was the Speed Hunters photographer there. And I didn't know at the time. I just, you know, was running the event just like I would normally. And, you know, driver's brief, we drove out, took photos, and then came back, and I got a message, and he goes, it made it onto Speed Hunters. And I clicked the link, and sure as shit, there was just speedhunters.com. I clicked the link, and there it was, Bathurst. I was like, what?
Right. I mean, does that feel like I just, like, the thing is, right, it's like if that happened for myself or Hawkins or Ian Baker, it's not a thing. It's like, oh yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, it's almost like I'm jealous of how excited you must have been, because I know you, like, you're just such a humble guy, and like you're so stoked about it, and it's infectious, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's really cool. And it's like I said, it's just so bizarre that like no one locally did that. It had to be an American that comes and moves over here. It's just trippy. It's really trippy.
Yeah,
And
I don't have an answer for that one. Like, I don't know why why it wasn't a thing in the past. That's why I did it. I was like, I don't get why people don't just drive up there. Like, you have access to freaking Bathurst,
right.
Like, it's iconic because of that.
But it almost goes back to what we were talking about in the first few minutes, which is like that whole Sydney thing where, you see, this is where like Sydney in America is like, I know off the top of my head that like Sydney's always had this sort of tall poppies kind of syndrome where, you know, if you start to succeed, you get chopped down, and they prefer a level playing field. But I've always known in business in the 90s, I learned that in America, when you want to start a new business, it's more like you meet people that are G'ing you on. They're excited for you. They you know, even the whole concept of having business meetings during a game of golf was more of an American thing in my head back then. Whereas in Australia, it's kind of like, I'm going to give you a whole lot of doubt.
Yeah.
You know, you start a business, it's going to be expensive, or you're going to lose money for the first few years. No. You know, it's all this doubt and negativity.
Yeah.
So it's probably a good segue to start talking about American culture and politics, because I know I'm forcing you into this actually, because dude, like I have been of the mindset that like just from the general media and stuff, I've just known that like, and my friends as well, when Trump was elected and then became president, I had friends in the US that were crying. They were literally in tears and they couldn't believe it. And all I knew of Trump from being an Australian was he was the host of some TV show. So you know, I knew of Arnold Schwarzenegger like becoming mayor or some shit. I'm like, oh my god, that's fucking crazy. But then
I
when
thought that
Trump,
was crazy.
right, and then when Trump becomes like, you know, leader of the world superpower, it's kind of like, oh shit, you
Yeah.
know, like. And so when these guys were upset, and they're close friends of mine, I was like upset with them, 100%. So fast forward to like just a few months ago when some of my mates uh said to me like, why do you hate Trump so much? Like he's done all of this and this. And so I'm like, you serious? Like, so I started, you know, YouTubing, because one thing that's awesome about YouTube is there's all sides. There's the
Oh,
left side,
100%.
the middle, and the far right. So
Yeah.
you can go hunting for multiple videos on the same topic. It doesn't matter what the topic is. Even if it's GTRs, you go hunting for videos that are paying out GTRs, and you find the videos that love them, and then
Yep.
some that like, oh, it's the best car in the world. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So all extremes, right? But I found with in the last few months that I've watched more American politics and more American footage and understand America more now than ever. And I still don't get it. I totally don't get it. But it almost was like what you were saying earlier in the podcast, how huge America is. And it's almost like multiple different countries, because I see so many different channels that I'm following, and they're so obviously slanted one way or another. There is no American media channel that I've found that is sitting in the middle.
No.
And
No.
then I find that crazy. Like, I
Yeah.
find it crazy that it's like, it feels so like the last election. It feels so 50-50 in that, like, America feels like it's tearing itself apart, in that, like, you got half the whole country hating the other half. So,
Well, I mean, you're always gonna have like somewhat of a divide when it comes to who you're voting for. I mean, because there only can be one, and at the end, there's only two that you pick from. So I mean, there's always gonna be that little bit of a divide. But yeah, in terms of, I guess, um, why people sway one way or the other, it's got to do with quite a few different things, like where you're brought up from, how you're brought up, religion, whether you're not religious. Like, there's so many different factors that play into why someone would choose a president, based on not even based on what they were saying or what they can or can't bring to the table. Before any of that even comes into the picture, you can have at least 1 million people on both sides of the equation made up their mind before
yeah,
he's even opened his mouth.
yeah, I
So I mean,
get you.
there's a huge variable there. I mean, you're talking 330 million people. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
holy
there's
shit,
there's
yeah.
like huge sway either way you go.
And you guys don't have to vote either, whereas in
No.
Australia it's compulsory. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
get a fine. But I've always found politics in Australia to be like, it is not it's not something to you get a scratch on your rims and you lose sleep for a few days, right?
Yeah.
Politics is like, I'm not gonna lose sleep over
No.
Australian
Look,
politics.
I'm in that same boat. Like, I've always been
Mm.
that way as well. Um, Politics for me is like, do you guys have like um class presidents and stuff like that? And did you have to vote for them?
Oh, we yeah, we it was really weird. It was towards the end of high school. We kind of, you talking about school?
Yeah.
Yeah. We kind of had these guys that were walking around with their shoulders back. They rolled their shoulders back, and they were wearing like little badges and like a blazer that was different to ours. I was like, who the fuck are these guys? But I think they were those guys. They were those guys that were like the prefects, and it was political.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, so if you imagine that person has I don't know, a school of maybe, or a class size really of 200 people, you know, somewhere circa that number. And they've got to try and convince that small populace that they should be class president.
Yeah.
It's like, as a kid, you'd be like, oh man, how am I going to do this? I'm going to just sit there and promise the world until
Yeah.
one side likes me. That's the US election in a nutshell.
Oh, it's a
Like,
game. It's a game, isn't it?
yeah,
But
it's
it's like,
all it is just someone sitting there trying to campaign to get your vote. They'll say whatever they need to say, but then when they get into office, the shit hits the fan. They're like, oh, hang on. All of this is what's actually happening. And I wasn't privy to that information when I was doing my election run. That all gets dumped on them. And then they're like, oh, crap, I can't actually fulfill any of these promises. But on the flip side to that, and this is where I'm on one side of the fence with Trump, when he made those promises, he made promises he could actually attain. And almost every single one he was able to do. Now, whether or not he's like, I agree, he's a freaking clown. Like,
he's crazy.
Social media account, shouldn't have
he speaks like us. Like, he speaks like just an ordinary.
Yeah.
Like, he just speaks like a troll sometimes as well. Like, he's actually fucking hilarious sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, he's really sharp, and he's got comedic kind of values.
Yeah. But yeah, like, at the same time, I think maybe it's like that kind of rebel against type, you know, mentality. But to me, that's kind of what he represents, because the kind of government as a whole in the States is just a lot of money and puppets. So it's if you've got the most money, you're going to get this person to change their opinion, because you're going to figure out a way, you know, money wise, that they're going to change their opinion. He's not that type of person. You know, you can't buy the guy.
Yeah.
He's had money since the 90s, you know, like,
he's not a puppet. He's not a puppet. No way.
He's not a puppet. And I think that's what a lot of people try and use to fuel the fire. But like I said, that's kind of why I like him, is he'll tell you like it is. He doesn't care. And it shows in his social media, which is, like I said, he's a clown, but he gets shit done. And it almost goes exactly as he says. You can't argue with it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I find it hilarious that most, if not all, the people that I know on social media and my family and friends all absolutely hate the guy. And it's and I was there too. A few months ago, I was there until I did more research. So that kind of thing scares me. Like, I'm not scared of too many things, but like, when I see somebody else being misunderstood or being bullied, that's the thing. Like, they all think he's the bully, but my God, the biggest channels, the biggest media channels on the planet just hammer him.
Yeah. There's not very many media outlets that are even for him. It's no.
The biggest ones aren't.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like, because I'm as I get older, I'm really good at putting myself in other people's shoes. So I'm just like, going from like completely hating him for no reason whatsoever, apart from
the TV
how much. It's fascinating. It's like, I feel somewhat sorry for the guy, and I feel like I would hate to be censored and bullied like that. Like, I couldn't live with that. Like, it's just to have so much of the world against me, or to be so misunderstood. Like, this is something that Hawkins and I talked about a fair bit too. It's like, Hawkins, so many people come up to me and like have come, not so many people anymore, but at certain times in my automotive career, people have come up to me and paid him out and given him a bit of hate. And I'm like, no, guys, you're wrong. Like, you don't know him at all, you know? And that's what I said to Hawkins. I said to his face, it's like, dude, like, every time someone ever has said something negative about you, I've defended.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't want Hawkins to go around talking about haters, because I'm like, dude, just forget about it.
100%. I've told him that before as well. Like,
only because he talks to you about haters, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like,
But
people don't see that side of him, which sucks.
no, yeah,
Like, he's such a people pleaser, but he's like, he
yeah.
knows how to walk the line as well. So it's like people usually will either same thing. I hate to compare him to Trump, but same kind of situation here because it's like they see one side and it's usually the side that the cameras are showing, or the
Yeah,
side that Facebook is showing,
yeah.
and
That's
that's
it.
how they judge them, and they don't
That's
give him
it. That's
a
it.
chance. So it's like,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, like I said, I've told them before, like, don't fucking worry about what they're saying, just keep doing you.
Dude,
I mean,
I
that's what
think
I
that's
did.
one of the that's one of the best things of doing that podcast with Hawkins was the amount of positive feedback we got. Um, sure, the Alexi video that I did got like way over 2,000 views, which is big for my channel, in comparison to all the other videos that are only getting like 20, 30 views or something. So the Alexi podcast was great for hits and views, and a lot of the comments were like just Alexi fans that like whatever Alexi is in, they are gonna lap it up. But what I loved about the Hawkins podcast is that the comments were people suggesting that they got great insights
I had the
into
same on the video I did for him, and like it was such an
right.
eye opener. You're like, because what it gets social media side, but then to see
Mm,
those type of things start to come up, and you're like,
yeah,
dang, okay, so perception maybe is starting to shift. Like, you kind of
yeah.
feel like you're helping it along. So yeah, it's cool.
That's it, man. I mean, and that's the same thing. Like, I think with the video, I have to thank you so much for that. I already have, but I'm going to thank you again for the video that you did with me because I think I was just starting to find my feet again. So it was really good timing for me. And I hate being in front of the video camera. I hate being in front of it. So that was like one of the first times I'd been in front of a camera in many years, at least 2 years. So I just remember we didn't really have anything planned. I love that. And it was such a good vibe. And
Yeah.
like the comments, man, that's the thing. It's like the comments, like, of course I braced myself for like, oh, fuck, I never remember what I say in these things. So like, I was like, holy shit, what did I say? But just to have people say like some of the comments were like, it was the fastest hour they've ever felt and
Yeah.
fastest hour. I was just like, man, like, like I post up the video with Hawkins, and people will comment like, "Fucking 2 hours, brah!" Like, they kind of like,
You know
"Oh
what?
fuck."
When I first started, I was so worried about how long videos were, or like
Mm,
what was actually happening. And then there was like just a light switch that just flicked off, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm
yeah.
doing this. Like I had to remind myself, I'm doing this for me. Like if people want to watch it, they'll watch it. If they don't want to watch it, they can click another video because I'm putting this out there. If you like it, I'm so happy. But if you don't, that's cool. Like you
But
said, it's cool if you don't get it.
but don't you think like getting the likes and the views, it's still like everyone's pretty hyper aware these days of social media addiction, right? Like we are all hyper aware of it.
Oh, you definitely get a
Um,
buzz from it for sure.
yeah.
100%.
How are you with that? Like
Mm,
there's real world problems for you right now, right? Like you haven't got work, you got a family, you've got a car that's like not running behind you. So you got this shit, and it's kind of like, do you wake up and sometimes think like, oh fuck, my videos are getting this many views today. If I put myself into the position of someone who's just starting a channel, they have no fucking views at all. So
mm.
I already have a reason to like get up and cheer about something. It's not
Um,
nothing. Like
yeah, I would say yes and no. Like, yes, for the fact that, like, oh, all right, well, let's do it like this. My current situation at the moment, I'm just not really even focused on YouTube whatsoever because
really,
right now it's not even, not
it's
even
it's
a thought in my head. Like, this thing is gonna sit there, YouTube will be there,
yeah,
all that stuff will be there regardless of when and if, I decide to make another video.
right.
So for me, my priority is focusing on home, kids, work, like making sure that I'm able to actually create more videos, because
Yeah,
at the end of the day, that's what's gonna keep me going forward. Like by all means, if YouTube for whatever reason decides to go and make the Lambo kill video plus like 3 other videos go viral, and I can, have a nice little nest egg to come back to, then sure, I'll definitely go hard. But it's not something where I'm like, crap, I haven't released a video in a week. Oh God, what am I gonna do?
Yeah. Do you think the kids primarily has changed that? Because I see, I checked out your feed today, and there's a lot of kid content. It's super cute, by the way. You have a baby face, bro. Like, you have a baby face, and your kids have your good looks. Like, there's no doubt. So so good on you, man. Like, I probably am that like really blunt motherfucker that if someone had a really ugly kid, I'd probably let them know. But 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 dude,
hey, but that's not a bad thing.
I'm just honest. I'm honest. I'm blunt and honest, and I'm not very sensitive sometimes. Well, supermodels are aliens these days, right? But your kids are super cute, man, and it's like, I just see I can see the love though. Like, even I had Daniel Karjati on the podcast the other day, and he's the same thing. I've seen his videos where he's just like 150% cheese mode. Like, he's doing cutesy stuff in the videos and love. I'm like, man, part of me wants to fast forward this video, but then it's like, you're owning it, bro. You're just 100%. Owning it, and it's like, it just reminds me of all those times when I was younger, even like when I wasn't a man yet, and I would like be in a taxi at like 4 a.m, getting a ride home from a nightclub, like fucking ecstasy tablets starting to wear out, and it'd always be usually be some Indian dude. And the first thing that they would ask would be like about the hot girls at the club and stuff. I'm like, no, let's talk about you. Do you have children? They'd always be like, yeah. I'm like, holy fuck, dude, you're driving me home 4 a.m for your kids. Let's talk about you. And at the end of those, by the time they get to the eastern suburbs, they're always like, oh, thank you for the conversation. I'm like, no, you're the fucking man,
Yeah. You should do that. We can Uber confessionals with Justin Fox.
But I've always appreciated the man. Like, as much as I don't particularly like kids, and I find them like I was just, like I said, I was catching up with my relos a few nights ago, and my mum's dog it's got this psycho thing where it scratches at the corner of the glass sliding door, and it's like scratch. There's nothing out there. The door's open. Like, you want to go outside, you go outside. The dog's just scratch, and then the kids are like, they're throwing. They had these soft balls, and they were throwing them at my head. So I'm like, how do I deal with this? Like, this is disrespectful, but I don't want to say anything. And yeah, like, I have so much respect. That's the thing. It's just like, I know obviously you get so much energy, but obviously they also take so much energy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially when it comes to bedtime, it's like,
so what is it like to have, like, it's like, I think I could, even though I've never had kids, I can assume that before you have kids and a family, goals seem like a simpler thing. Like, it could be the car behind you and a business, or starting a business or something. But do you find that, like, everything's just fuller and more fulfilled now that you have the project car behind you, the YouTube, the looking for a job, the kids? Like, do you find that, like,
well, I think I may have interpreted that a little bit differently, but like, I don't find, because I think a lot of people view having kids as kind of like a roadblock to getting something that you want to accomplish, or
a lot of guys maybe.
Yeah, you see yourself in a certain space, and they're gonna hamper you to do that. I've actually found it to be the opposite. Like,
right, that's what I'm assuming.
To just be able to be like, you know what, I'm gonna make sure this thing goes to the next Bathurst cruise, because if it's driving and I can go there, that means I can take them and go, cruise through the Nasho or something like that, and like, grab a coffee and watch them play, and I can still be driving this thing. So it I'd say it motivates me more rather than like changes that perception. Like, yeah, there is a bit of tameness to it. Like, I don't think I'll go out and be Lambo hunting or something like that. But
Yeah, I was about to say with the safety issues, like if you had kids in a car, a modern car which had all the airbags and everything, you'd still feel safer than if the kids are in the car behind you, right?
oh, of course, yeah. In that regard, I thought you were gonna say like if you have the kids in the car and Lambo rocks up, I'd be like, no, James.
No. But there's obviously it's not like black and white. There's still gray area, right? Like
Definitely.
you would take the kids in your car, even though it's not the latest model car which has all the airbags.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's
So that I
always going
find
to be
that
that
that's
element of
fascinating.
risk.
Mm.
Um, and the way that because I actually sat there and thought about exactly that for such a
Yeah,
long
yeah, I find
time,
that's quite fascinating. Yeah.
because when there was actually a time when my car was driving and my daughter was like just learning how to walk,
Mm.
and I wouldn't take her in the car for the longest time because it just was like terrifying for me
Mm.
that I'd have her in the car and I know how much of a tin can these things are. So it's like,
Yeah.
just her even being in the car was me taking a risk that I didn't need to take.
Yeah.
But I think now that well, obviously she's, much older now, and I've got another one, and it's like, I want to enjoy that car with them, like there is a certain element of risk, but that's kind of your responsibility on the road as well to negate as much risk as you can. So, like I said, I see it as a motivating factor and definitely something that I want to share with them.
Look, that's the thing. Like, I really think that's a fascinating topic, and I think life isn't black and white, and life is full of risks, right? Like, I think I often talk about risks being like you've got to take them. Like, you can't,
You have to. You have
if
to.
you get
The whole life.
mm, mm. That's fascinating. It also reminds me of like my cousins. They are from Indonesia. They live here now, and they're absolute car nuts. Like all the dollars that they earn, they blow on their cars, suspension, wheels, exhaust, everything. And their first, like when I asked one of them, it was a while ago now, it was a couple of years ago now, but I asked him like, how come he's so into cars? Like, my whole family's into cars, but I asked him, and he said, dude, it was your fault because I was a baby and my little brother and I were in your back seat of the GT-R, but dad was in the front seat, and I hit it. and they he remembers that. His little brother doesn't remember it.
Yeah. But
He
see,
was
that's the cool thing. Like just
I,
that small little action, which is classified as a big risk, has
correct,
ignited a
I knew what I was doing. I definitely wasn't trying to kill them.
No, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. But I'm saying like that action is what's sparked, that
Yeah,
passion for someone
yeah,
else. So
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And you'd
how
be
do
the
you view
same
that?
whether
Is it bad or
you
is it
whether you
good?
ride motorbikes, or there's so many other things. There's so many other things, but it's a fascinating topic because you know the love that you have for your kids obviously is limitless, and you want to protect them and all that stuff. But life is life, yeah. Like that car behind you might not make financial sense whatsoever,
No.
but it's crucial and essential in so many ways that can't be put on a graph or put on it's not black and white.
Yeah, I mean that's like hunk of metal behind you is sanity, that hunk of metal behind you is happiness. That hunk of metal behind you is like your escape, like it can be so many different things. So it's whether or not you put a monetary value on it or not,
It's not about money. Yeah.
it's
It's not
not.
about
It's
money.
not. And most things that make people happy aren't about money.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, dude. Well, it's been awesome chatting, man. I reckon we'll wrap it up. But
Uh,
it's good to see your face again. I know everyone's doing this whole Zoom thing because of COVID and shit. It's not been such a big deal in Sydney. Like I did see you at the end of month meet for a
For like
split
a
second.
brief second.
Dude, you were the first person that I saw at that meet, which is it was just so cool. Like you're such a humble guy. Like you were for people listening, you were guiding traffic into the meet. So Hawkins has a good friend in you, and you're a legend, man. Like, you know, I wouldn't do that. Even when I was running the meets, I would not be the first point of contact and guiding people on where to park and stuff. So you've got a real humble nature about yourself, which is ridiculously unbelievable. Please never lose it because
I'll do my
yeah,
best.
dude, I've never seen you grumpy. I've never seen you angry. I'm sure it happens, but I've never seen it, dude. Look at that smile on your face. Like, yeah, like I can't believe it. And you were working so hard that I didn't even get to catch up with you that night.
Yeah, it's. I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him. And then I messaged you, and you're like, I'm gone. I was like, damn it.
But it was a good night. It was a bit cold, actually. Like I was like, fuck, this is a bit cold, and
Yeah, it was chilly.
yeah,
It was.
it was a bit chilly, yeah. But dude, thank you so much for your time. I hope I got you back one there.
You did.
Um,
You did. And thank you so much for inviting me. I had a blast. This was awesome. It was much more awesome than I was like expecting because I was like, oh, what am I gonna do on a Zoom call? I can't like cut and edit out anything. I've got to be on. I was like, nah, just be me.
just be you, bro. And that's the thing. It's like I think, I'm out of the whole podcast that we've done, probably the thing that resonates the most with me is it's super sad for someone like you to get any kind of negative feedback whatsoever. Like that really upsets me, like more than you realize. Like because
Mm.
I, you know, bullying is a legit thing, and I have been bullied when I was younger and stuff like that. And even towards the end, I've been bullied, but sure, I had a thicker skin and stuff.
Mm.
But like even talking to Hawkins and him getting bullied and stuff like that, like, and I see he's got a thick skin, 100%. I understand that, but I'm still not okay with it.
Yeah.
Like I'm just, I just, sometimes I catch myself out where I get upset with someone's opinion or when someone's wrong, especially, I feel like I need to jump in there and say, hey, you're wrong. But I don't think that's too different to a hater troll kind of like ready to
Look, I
pounce
mean,
on you
you
as soon as you do
defending
something
yourself
wrong.
though, like it's different,
Hmm.
like you defending yourself
That,
because of what someone else is saying. You can't necessarily classify yourself in the same, same sentence as them because
hmm.
you're not going out of your way to demean someone. You're going,
No, 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 no,
you're
no. Yeah,
defending yourself.
yeah, sure, sure, sure. To a degree, yeah. But I think, yeah, you do not deserve that. So you of all people, that's the thing. Like Andrew and I, we have huge fucking egos, man. Like Andrew walks around, we both like we got big egos, but yeah, you don't have that big head on you. So, yeah, all the best with finding work. If
Thank
if
you.
it's GCG, good luck with that. Good luck with
Thank
that.
you.
And I'm not worried about your GTR project. I love how long it's been, and I think that it's just going to be one of those constants in your life. Like I think, um, don't sell it, please, because
No, no.
like, but yeah, I hope I end up making it to one of your events and catch you at a future end of month meet. I think that'll be the
Definitely.
easiest place for us to catch up. But just
Definitely.
make sure you come and find me.
Yeah, I'll just like ditch the high vis and come
The high
straight
vis.
out.
That's it, bro. All right, well, hang on the line. Thanks, guys, if you've made it this far. Make sure you check out the description below. I will leave links to Cardo's channel and stuff, Instagram and stuff. Mostly your YouTube channel, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Whichever. It doesn't bother me.
All right, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah.